We are badly short of unskilled workers. We are also short of skilled workers. In an earlier video, I probably conflated the two. Brexit has left us with a shortage of those workers who routinely came here and filled the niche, particularly in nursing and in sort of the basic sort of manual work that we in this country seem very reluctant to do. Now, we've seen this for a long time. We saw this with the collapse of a lot of the farming industry, which relied on unskilled workers coming to this country and picking bulbs, picking potatoes, picking flowers, and so on. This destroyed absolutely the flower industry in Lincolnshire, for example, in Spalding. But that happened some years ago, and that was a result of rather injudicious legislation put out by Europe to prevent gangs of flower pickers coming over from Eastern Europe, as indeed they had done from the 1950s. And now we've got our own problems. Our own problems are that we have got an obsession with a skills-based workforce and with a points-based system, which we've taken from Australia. Well, it works very well in practice, but in principle, sorry, the other way around, it works very well in principle, but in practice, we need as many unskilled labourers as we need skilled labourers. So in talking about this, I suggested that we should be encouraging many of the migrants who have come here to work immediately, rather like they do in the Netherlands. There's no reason why we cannot immediately give migrants and asylum seekers access to work and an opportunity to pay tax. There's no reason why we have to keep them indolent and in limbo until we've processed their paperwork, particularly if we've got a Home Office which is on a go slow for processing paperwork. This is absurd. What we're doing is actually hitting ourselves with a double whammy. We're not only having to pay for their accommodation, we're failing to reap the benefits of a great number of people paying tax. Now, some of these people may not qualify for asylum and therefore may have to leave, but during the time that they are here, they could be made to feel welcome and made to contribute to our society. At the same time, I think we should be encouraging as many nurses as possible from abroad to come here. Now, if I gave the impression earlier that I considered nurses to be unskilled, that was simply because I'm conflating issues. I certainly don't consider that. Many nurses are highly skilled. Many of them have really quite high degrees, and there are levels of nursing to which people can aspire. And indeed, should they aspire to these higher levels of nursing, then they command quite high salaries. But many nurses are needed to do those lower levels of nursing, and we have a great shortage of that. We need to fill those positions if we are to make the NHS function effectively. We also need to make sure that those nurses and doctors, but particularly nurses, are not penalised with transport restrictions, so they have to park a mile or so away from the hospital in order to do their job. If they're going to do a job for us, we need to make sure that we provide those facilities so they can do it. It's absurd, particularly when top top businesses reward their management with a parking space. For doing what? For pushing a pen around a piece of paper? No, these nurses are saving our lives. They should have parking spaces. We should make sure they can get to and from the hospital so they can do their job. It's absurd to ask somebody to do a job in a specific location and then not to help them to reach that location and to work safely. So that puts that into context. So, I hope I've answered those questions, and I hope I've clarified anything that may be in doubt. I would hope to be consistent at least. And as for my point about Albanians, well, the Albanians that I know work hard and are and wish to make a contribution to this country, as indeed they'd make a contribution to any country they were in. And there are many Albanians who just simply want to work. Now, maybe some of them from the north of Albania don't have great qualifications, but they can work, and we should take advantage of that. And as for the Home Office and its indolence and its go-slow approach to paperwork, well, there are many Albanians that I know who are significantly more educated than a lot of the people in the Home Office and could do that job at the drop of a hat. So if you're having difficulty, Home Office, in actually doing the job that you are set up to do, why not delegate to an entire group of people who are here waiting to work? Because the alternative is simply ridiculous.